Welcome to another episode of the Startup Sac podcast, where we do interviews with Sacramento startup founders and innovators. Today we're at Impact Venture Capital again, and with me I have got the co-founders of another young startup, Beata and Patrick. Welcome, guys, and let's have you start off introducing yourselves and your backgrounds, and then tell us what your startup Beekwee is.
All right. My name is Beata. I'm co-founder of Beekwee. And I came to the US 5 years ago as a diplomat and was sent from Washington, D.C. to Silicon Valley to help startups from Poland to establish their footprint on the West Coast. And my office was located in Rocket Space, open innovation hub in downtown San Francisco with several successful alumni such as Uber, Spotify, Leapmotion and Supercell, and that's where I got the startup bug from.
Mm-hmm. And Patrick?
I am a developer. I actually was born and raised in San Jose. I moved here when I was 15 to Sacramento, and I've been here ever since. I attended Sac State. I got my bachelor's of computer science at Sac State, and then afterwards I got a couple of jobs here as a Java developer, working at Accenture in Rancho Cordova here, and working at BSP Affinity, also in Rancho Cordova. After that, I kind of got a little bit of the wandering bug, the wanderlust, and I moved to Poland, and I got a job working as a software engineer over there for a company that was had contract with Procter & Gamble. After I came back here, I was hungry for a startup, and I met Beata, and
okay.
That's history.
So, well, let's start off. First of all, give us your quick pitch. What is your startup, Beekwee?
It's a donation marketplace for parents to pass along used or unused baby and kid stuff for free.
Okay, and so how did you guys meet and co-found? How did the idea come up, and how did you guys meet? What's the whole origin story of you as co-founders and of Beekwee?
It started a little earlier. In fact, I got really inspired after going to Burning Man for the first time.
Really?
Yeah. The whole idea of sharing resources and the world that does not circulate around money really resonate well with me. But only after I became a new mother, the concept of starting my own company became sharp. I've experienced that finding right and affordable products for my baby was one of the most stressful things about my pregnancy's third trimester, and I was really determined to do something about it. And when I met Patrick, everything just clicked.
Yes, my side of the story is that when I was working and living in Poland, I got the entrepreneurial bug, and I had attended a conference over there, and I had this idea for a startup. And when I pitched it, everyone liked it, and they voted like, hey, we want to invite you for a weekend to actually organize something and develop it. Thing is, I'm just a developer. I have no idea how to actually run a startup. So that startup kind of ran into the ground. When I came back, though, is when I met Beata through the Polish American community in Northern California. And so when she was talking about her startup, she said, hey, I need somebody to help build it. And I said, well, I'm looking for an idea. And one of the things about her idea is that I'm looking for something that really helps people out. One of the things that I had learned was there's something called like a vitamin and a painkiller. This is a painkiller because it's going to help people with their finances and to save money. So
okay.
I jumped on it right away.
So maybe we could go a little bit deeper into, well, first of all, who's the audience? Who's your target market? I assume mothers and families. Talk about that a little bit, and how what it's been like developing your solution to the pain point that they have.
First of all, it was my problem, but we validated it. So we talked to other parents and discovered that they are sharing the same frustrations. And then we announced the idea on one of the Facebook pages, and so we got like 50 signups right away in just a few minutes. And that's how it started. We started to work really hard on the platform and launched it. And before the launch of the platform, we went through Y Combinator Online Startup School, and it was such a helpful experience. And one thing that I remember that Sam Altman tends to repeat all the time is that you should build something that a small number of people really love, rather than something that a large number of people like. And that's what we are focusing right now on.
And I can totally validate it, because one of the things that's held me off from parenthood is hearing about expenses. I hear that so much from my friends. So with this thing, I actually can't wait. I can't wait to become a parent and start using this. So that's validation from my side.
So the problem you're solving is that to be a parent is expensive. You have kids, and your kids grow fast, and they outgrow their clothes, and resupplying them with all those clothes is expensive. And your solution is people can bequeath, which I think is the origin of your name, Beekwee. It solves that problem by helping people donate or gift, if I'm correct, clothes to help people out who can't afford it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just like eBay, but everything is listed for free. All items are listed for free. But on average, the American parents spend around $13,000 on their babies in the first year alone. So that's a pretty huge stretch. And the young parents or new parents, they are really anxious. They really want to be a good parent. And their sleep deprivation and the whole anxiety associated with the parenthood make them
really stressed out, frustrated.
Yeah, and they just go through this the whole process, misleading advertising, buy a lot of baby must-have that they don't really need, or end up with boxes cluttered with baby clothes and toys, and they don't really know what to do with it. They can go to Goodwill, they can find family or friends to pass it along, but that's not a really good solution. It's always a hassle, it's a problem. So Beekwee is a very simple platform where people who have things to give away and people who need products for their families or babies and kids, they can just meet, and this transaction is really fast and simple and fun.
So about the platform, maybe talk about, I assume it's a mobile app and a SaaS-based platform you developed. And first of all, are you in beta? Is it available? People listening, watching, who want to sign up, can they do that yet?
Right. No. Right. It's in beta right now, and it's accessible. Right now, we have a site available. The native apps are coming soon, but right now we're focusing on a web-based application so that people can just visit it with Safari on their phones, or with Chrome on their phones with a regular browser. So that is automatically available to everybody right now.
And where would they find it?
On www.beekwee.com.
Okay, so you're basically testing that out. What point do you think that opens up to a broader audience?
Good question.
Good question. It's already opened, and when I mentioned that we had so many signups, then a cold shower came because we noticed that our users are not as active as we expected them to be. And we spend a lot of time trying to understand their behaviors, asking for feedback, using analytics tools, and we roll out a lot of improvements on the site, trying constantly to make it easier to navigate and more user-friendly. And I think we are about to start gaining momentum right now, but it takes time. Airbnb, it took them like 2 or 3 years to take their startup off the ground, so it's not happening overnight.
Right. So you mentioned the Facebook group. Has that been kind of the core interface, if you will, with your target market?
Yes, we are using Facebook groups. I am a member of like 300 groups for mothers where they buy, trade, swap baby products. And they do it using Facebook groups, which is really a hassle. I tried myself, and that's why we decided to use this channel in the beginning to find our target group and also connect with them and grasp some kind of hints and ideas from our users.
And you're probably already establishing a good connection and rapport with your market that way too, I assume.
Yes,
okay,
it's more friendly.
Cool.
we don't really believe in email marketing. It does not really work well for us at this stage. So Facebook groups are a major channel.
Okay, so you mentioned that you did a little bit of some challenges. You've pivoted a little bit, doing some analysis. For those of other entrepreneurs out there, can you maybe share what that's like to have to pivot and change your your value proposition and approach a little bit as a startup founder?
Well, it's part of the bargain. I mean, when you begin a startup, you're totally aware that you're going to have to pivot, and if you take that personally, then being a founder is not for you. So it's just biting the bullet and doing what makes the project successful.
And that's what we learned at Y Combinator School, that just release this MVP as early as possible. Don't worry if it's not ready. It shouldn't be ready at this stage. You cannot be perfectionist. It's and start talking to your users and getting their feedback and trying to find product market fit. That's how it works.
Okay. So what stage would you say you're at? You've got an MVP as far as the website. You're building out native apps. As far as funding goes, and what are you looking for from the Sacramento Startup Community or VCs or funders out there? What kinds of things are you looking for to help make you more successful and grow?
At this stage, we are pre-revenue, early stage startup. We are about to start our first pre-seed round soon. So we need probably parents, most likely women, mothers who would like to join and invite their friends and do it in like a very maybe not closed but like semi-closed setting, and to give us as much feedback and ideas as possible.
That's kind of your beta group then?
Yes.
And so they should contact you through the website?
Yeah, just sign up and don't be shy and send us emails. Tell us what's wrong, where did you get lost, what's not clear enough, because we were trying to make it super simple, but we've been working on it for like a year now. So we need someone who could look at it with fresh eyes and just give us more information.
Yeah, we're open to any kind of feedback. I mean, really, if you have any positive or even some areas for improvement, just tell us.
Okay. So you mentioned your pre-revenue. You talk about the revenue model for this, because I know you've talked about it being free for at least one of the segments. What's the revenue model to make this sustainable?
We just started subscription plans, so we want it to be free, but we also want to make sure that users are not overusing the site. So, for example, getting free items from Beekwee and selling them elsewhere. So, if users keep healthy ratio of items given and taken, everything is free. And if they don't have enough to give away right now, we have subscription plan, $18 per month, and that's how we make money right now. But we are also rolling out our corporate plan. So we are going to connect our community of parents with other family-oriented businesses run by mompreneurs. And that's why we are about to raise our first round to make it happen.
Interesting. So what do you think has been some of the biggest challenges for you in launching this startup?
Well, from a kind of an abstract point of view, persistence, like we said, dealing with the pivots, that's can be an emotional drain. But just moving forward, because there's a lot of times where you build something with the expectation that, okay, this is going to really draw a lot of attention. It doesn't draw attention, and you're just going to have to scrap that and move on. So dealing with
move on really fast.
Really fast, yeah. So lean startup all the way. Present something, doesn't work, scrap it. Try to get
something else.
Analysis, and so yeah, we have a lot of analysis on how our users use the site, so that we can kind of get an idea of what is the best fit for them.
But I think that it's also challenging that we usually work remotely. So Patrick is based in Sacramento, I'm based in Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
So we meet from time to time here in Sacramento, but we use Slack on daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's really difficult to explain some abstract ideas
Mm-hmm.
or keep track on everything on Slack.
I like Slack though.
Yeah.
I really do like Slack.
I'm a
There-
fan too.
there-
But search feature is not
The
as
search
good.
feature is.
Okay. So those are the challenges. Maybe you share what if I ask you what the biggest win you've had, what comes to mind for the most celebratory event or milestone that you guys have reached?
Well, when we presented the site on the Facebook group, we automatically got a surge in signups. People are like, "Oh, this is an awesome idea. I really want to use this." And so having that was a really celebratory moment because we could show, like, "Hey, this week we had 50 users sign up, and we're not even beta
just
yet.
few minutes.
Yeah, we're barely beta, and it's just a few minutes. We already 50 people signed up. So that was a really celebratory moment.
And I think that completion of this Y Combinator Startup School was also like feeling good moment and going to this gathering, the final event, talking to our mentors and peer founders. It was really inspiring.
And of course, the cherry on top of that cake is going to be the first transaction on our site.
When do you think that's going to happen?
It's already happened.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
And it didn't come from a friend or an acquaintance.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, lots of people I talk to, interview, talk about the startup founder's life, the entrepreneur's life is a roller coaster, ups and downs. And something that I often forget to ask, which I think is a valid question, is how do you get through those down times? What coping mechanisms do you have, or can you recommend to other founders out there to get through those down times between the up cycles?
I have my family,
Yeah?
my little daughter and my partner. But yeah, friends, family, community of other founders, that's key.
So from a person who doesn't have a family yet and is still hasn't reached that level of maturity yet, fresh air, exercise, aggressive music.
Headbanging?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's key. I like to tell people, get away from the computer, get out and walk and get out in the air a little bit, except when it's 110 degrees out, maybe. So, segueing that to, what other general advice or tips can you share with other people who may not be as, you're pretty early stage, but there are people who are going to watch this who are just barely starting out with an idea. What kind of advice or tips would you give them?
It's really hard, and it usually takes much longer than you expected, so don't ditch your side job too fast.
Yeah, so follow up to that question is, I was the exact person that you're describing. A year ago, we just had an idea, but we persevered. It took longer than we anticipated. I think I gave you the optimistic estimate of having it completed in 6 months, and it actually took a year. But the thing that I want to bring across to people is that, I wouldn't call myself an expert programmer, and I don't want to call myself a perfect programmer because that means that I won't be able to learn, right? So I always want to be able to learn something. So what I know now is not going to be the same as what I know 6 months from now, but that's okay because I'm constantly learning. So if you have kind of doubts about your ability to do something, don't, because maybe when you do start, it's not going to look its best, but eventually it will, because you're going to refine it, you're going to learn, you're going to improve as a developer. So I would say head into it, just take calculated risks. Don't if you're in dire straits, of course, don't quit a job. Make sure that you have a comfortable financial blanket, but don't be scared because it's not that hard. It's just work and time.
I like that.
And persistence.
Yeah, persistence. That one is a common theme every time. So I want to thank you guys. Any last shout outs that you would like to give to anybody, or last words of advice?
I would like to give a shout out. I would like to say proudly that most of Beekwee was developed by myself at Hacker Lab.
Okay.
And I want to give a shout out to 3 really awesome people, Christina, Tosca, and Terry at Hacker Lab.
Awesome.
Hi.
Yay, Hacker Lab.
Thanks for all the advice. Thanks for your kindness and your hospitality.
Yep.
And you?
Sacramento is hot.
All right.
So try it out. That's a really cool community, much more genuine than Silicon Valley, which is really noisy and really crowded.
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys, thanks for your time, and I wish you the best of luck. And again, your website address is beekwee.com. Spell that out for us.
BEE, like Bumblebee, so
Uh-huh.
BEEKWEE.com.
All right, thanks again, and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.